Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today's webinar is with our partner ecoTech, and the subject of today's webinar is cloud video conferencing. First of all, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their day to join us on this webinar. This is going to be a great topic, and this is one of our best partners, very focused on turnkey managed video conferencing solutions. So it's a really hot area. Also, I just want to remind everyone that for attending today's webinar, you will receive a $10 Starbucks gift card. So we just want to give you a small token of our appreciation for you taking the time. As we usually do in our webinars, we're going to have 3 polling questions. So be on the lookout for those questions throughout the presentation, and we look forward to seeing your answers, and we will share those answers with everybody in the audience so you can see what your peers are thinking about it. The other thing we want to encourage you to do is keep your questions coming throughout the presentation. So as you hear things that spark a question in your mind, use the GoToWebinar interface. And please enter your questions in so that we can answer those at the end. And then finally, this entire session will be recorded and will be made available on the Huawei website and probably the ecoTech website as well. Presenting with me today is going to be a couple of individuals. One of them is going to be Mario Garindo, who's the CEO of ecoTech, and also Jarrett Lohman, who's a lead solution architect. So we have some definite experts from the partner community here today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we want to talk about is kind of positioning where this whole video conferencing thing plays with regards to the overall Huawei solution set. And part of what's driving Huawei's innovation today is this convergence that's occurring between traditional IT, which is all of our servers and storage devices and everything else that we have in our data centers, and communications technology, which has been evolving over the past 50-plus years, where now we have very sophisticated endpoint devices that are able to be kind of mini computers, and as we know with BYOD, people want to be able to consume all their applications on their handheld devices, whether they're at work or on the road or wherever else they may be. So this convergence is creating an incredible opportunity, and it's really perfect for Huawei because we have a significant investment in research and development around these topics of cloud and mobility and consumerization. So this is kind of setting the stage for this particular thing. I think most of you are probably familiar with Huawei at this point, but just in case you aren't, Huawei is a global provider of IT solutions. It's a $40 billion company. This slide is only reflecting 2012 revenue numbers, but the 2013 numbers are about to be released, and we expect it to be about $40 billion in revenue. The company has over 150,000 employees and 70,000 employees in R&D. So you can imagine the breadth of innovation that goes on when you have 70,000 engineers. And these engineers are spread across the globe. We have several significant R&D sites in the U.S., including Santa Clara, Plano, Texas, and also in Washington, D.C. Huawei is also very focused on standards. So we have thousands, tens of thousands of patents that we have applied for and been granted. And we're just focused on innovation and patenting technology across a wide variety of different technology areas. The final slide we want to just provide here, just setting the stage for this whole presentation, is that if you look at the Huawei enterprise portfolio, it's a very vast set of products. And in fact, the enterprise product portfolio is really only a subset of Huawei's entire product line. So Huawei does have consumer devices, both tablets and phones. Some of you might be familiar with that. They also kind of made their name originally in the carrier space, selling carrier-grade technology to companies like AT&T and Verizon and some of the largest telco carriers in the world. But the group that we're working with and the group that we're focused on today is the enterprise group, and there we're really focused on 3 areas. The data center area, where we're dealing with kind of high-end switching technology, storage, both SAN and NAS, as well as server technology. We just did a server webinar last week. For those of you that saw that, you kind of got an introduction to Huawei's server product line. And then we have quite a few campus and branch solutions. This is going to be all of our campus wireless and our mainstream switching, core and aggregate switching technology. We also have LTE solutions that allow you to set up a mobile broadband network. This is being used by some of the areas where they have kind of remote requirements to set up a broadband network. It's also being used by a lot of school districts that are setting up their need to have their own kind of mobile network for voice and data that's used not only on the campus but also by students who live within the coverage area. And then also the UC&C area, and I saved that for last because that's really going to be the area that we dive into today with today's webinar. But here you're seeing very high-end telepresence systems, video conferencing, and the like. And we're delivering these to a large array of enterprise customers with specific vertical focus across several verticals, including retail, higher education, and also K through 12, manufacturing, and the like. So again, it's a very broad product portfolio and a very broad set of verticals that we focus on. So that kind of sets the stage. What I'd like to do now is introduce the first of our 3 polling questions. And this first polling question is really just to kind of find out what you see as your biggest obstacle in implementing video conferencing. So go ahead and take a moment to answer that. Let us know whether you think it's kind of hard to maintain is the issue, or if it's really bandwidth requirements that you're concerned about, whether you think it's complex installation, or if it's just not easy enough to use. So go ahead and take a few moments to vote on that, and we'll show you the results here in a minute. And obviously, if it's none of those first 4, just pick other, and you'll be able to have some other thoughts about what that might be. Again, I do want to remind you to please keep the questions coming in the Q&A panel. We'll be answering those all at the end, but we encourage you to submit questions so that we can answer all of those. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the poll out, and I'd like to share the results with you. What you can see is that the leading obstacle was the high bandwidth requirements. Complex install comes in a close second, and then hard to maintain and hard to use were much less, and a little bit more on other. So that's good information, and definitely good to know. At this point, we're going to go ahead and roll forward again here. Not sure quite why it skipped there, but let's go ahead. And what I'd like to do now is go ahead and introduce Mario Garindo, who's the CEO of ecoTech. And Mario, go ahead and take it away for the next few slides.
Thanks, Nick. Hi, everyone. My name is Mario Garindo. I'm the President and CEO for ecoTech Solutions Group. We are a provider of unified communication, voice, video, and data applications. Essentially what we do, we work with mid-size and enterprise clients, and we help them develop customized solutions to respond to the ever-changing business needs that we have in the business world today. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is that we're introducing Ecoprezens. Ecoprezens is our video cloud-based solution. We launched this product last year. We've signed up a few customers on there. We've had a lot of success. So we thought we would have a webinar today to speak to a broader audience and share some of those success stories and the features of these video products. So on the next slide, we're going to quickly go over what I call the evolution of video conferencing. If you look up in the 80s, you had this little triangle sitting in the middle of the conference room. I think there's a lot of people who still have this today. Polycom was very popular in making some of those. So essentially, this is what video conferencing looked like. It was this little box sitting in the middle of the room. Everybody was talking into it. Then in the early 90s, they started adding video to it. So you had video, no sound, just images. And in the middle of the conference, room, you still have this little Polycom box that everybody needs to be talking to. In the early 2000s, we evolved slowly to telepresence, where we would get video and sound to a single endpoint. However, in the 2000s, as you can see on that picture here, so you have this video, you're getting the sound, everything, but there's something called a multi-point control unit, commonly referred to as an MCU. Very, very big, expensive device that needed to sit somewhere on the customer premise to be able to make the video and the sound come into place. And these things will go up to $100, $200, or even $500,000. Very, very expensive setup. So today, we're talking about the software-based video conferencing, and this is what Ecoprezens is. So we're essentially bringing high-quality video, audio solution with very low bandwidth requirements and with a cloud MCU. Yeah. So we no longer have this big, expensive device sitting in a data center at the customer side. Now we have a cloud-based MCU that allows any device to connect to any point, any endpoint, anywhere in the world. And so on the next slide, we're looking at some of the driving factors that have been moving video along. The traditional video conferencing, of course, just as I mentioned on the previous slide, very expensive multi-point control unit, too expensive to implement, too expensive to maintain. With the mobile workforce today, we're looking at every person carrying 2.9 mobile device today. The traditional video conferencing is not mobile friendly. So not only now you pay a few hundred thousands of dollars to have this conferencing system, but with the mobile workforce, they're suffering. They don't have access to that, to the system at all. So these are some of the things that our solution is addressing today. So on the next slide, we're looking at our cloud solution. So essentially, you have, if we're looking at the screen from left to right, we have a room system. So in this case, we're talking about the Huawei TE30 endpoint video conferencing. So this will sit in your conference room, your boardroom. And you have a desktop client. This is more for mobile users on their laptops, sitting at Starbucks who need to attend the conference. So they can download the desktop client from the Ecoprezens website, install it on their machine, and have a secure video connection that will allow them to attend a meeting. You can also do that with your tablet and with your smartphone. And essentially, what those mobile applications are doing to your devices is connecting to a cloud-based multi-control unit, an MCU, and allow just an ease in communication for the video. So moving on to the next slide. We call our solution, we call Ecoprezens a turnkey solution. And when we mean turnkey, we literally mean a turnkey solution. So we have associated a TE30, which we consider to be a true turnkey endpoint. This device sits just as it is in a picture. You literally take it out of the box, plug it in, and you can get online. I think the fastest setup has been so far 11 minutes from the time the endpoint is taken out of the box, connected to the network, and connected to the cloud bridge. We did this in 11 minutes in the fastest setup time so far. Very nice looking device, very easy to use, a true all-in-one. We have some of the competitors calling their device endpoints, but there's many moving parts as part of it. This one just sits as it is, just in a picture. Everything is included. It has Wi-Fi support, it has voice dialing support. There is one cable, and I don't know if anybody else is doing this in the industry, but we haven't seen this yet. A video endpoint with a single cable that provides power, audio, video, and data. Literally one single cable that plugs into the back of the device, which makes the implementation so much easier. You don't have to look for 50 different cables and see where they need to go in. Just one single connection to the back for everything the device needs. So we're associating this with Ecoprezens to offer the bundle that we are going to cover later on in the webinar today. So TE30 Ecoprezens equal turnkey video solution. Just, on the next slide, again, just more details on the Ecoprezens solution.
Mario.
Yes.
It's time for polling question number 2.
Okay.
That's where we're at. So excellent job. So let's go ahead and put up the second polling question. And what we want to know now is what is the most important benefit that you're looking for in a video conference system? And if you're a partner, this is kind of what are your customers telling you that they would look for in terms of implementing a solution like this? So are they trying to reduce their travel costs? Are they trying to improve the use of their executives' time and speed decision making? Are they trying to enable top management to communicate with their employees? We know there's a lot of companies that have their all-hands meetings through video conferencing. Is it collaboration between dispersed peer groups? So is it just different teams in different locations trying to get together? Or finally, is it just a cost-effective training alternative rather than having everybody jump on a plane and travel? So go ahead and take a few moments. And Mario, while they're responding, I just want to say, so did you say your fastest time of setting one of these things up out of the box was 11 minutes? Is that what I heard you say? Oh, we can't hear
That's
Mario.
correct. 11 minutes.
11 minutes. Okay, so that's a challenge out there for anybody that thinks they can beat Mario's 11 minutes. We've got the Huawei challenge for the install. I did hear a rumor that one of our technical guys could do it in under 10, but that's only a rumor, not substantiated. We're going to go ahead and close out the poll, and I'll share the results with everybody so you can see it. Looks like there's a pretty good split between collaboration between dispersed groups, training alternative as opposed to having to all fly on planes to a central location, and then just reducing travel costs overall. So no big surprise there. Those are just some of the drivers for this technology. At this point, I believe what we're doing is transferring control over to Jarrett Lohman. Jarrett, you're going to be the lead solution architect for this stuff, so we'd really like to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and take it away, Jarrett.
Okay. So as Mario was discussing, there's a level of interoperability with the Ecoprezens cloud service that's being offered for video conferencing, so you can connect your Huawei endpoints, your standards-based endpoints, excuse me, back to your desktops and mobile devices, using either a Mac or a PC. We work in all the major browsers, so IE, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, any of those. And then we also have an install client that you can use on the desktop that allows for a few more features. But for users that don't have the ability to install something, we do have that web-based client as well. And then for mobile devices, we work on both the Apple and Android platforms, as well as the Windows Surface tablet. And so then with all those different options, you have plenty of ways to come into the calls with your standards-based video endpoints that are currently deployed throughout, and then with the Huawei endpoints that you guys deploy in the future. On the next slide, some of the benefits of these services, obviously the increased productivity, the reduced travel costs, all the things that he just asked that question about for the poll, are all things that you allow and that you can get using the service. And one of the biggest things is the visual cues that you can get from video conferencing versus just an audio conference. When you actually have someone in front of you on a video call, you're able to see if they're actually paying attention, and people aren't muting the phone and just going off and typing something or messing around on the internet or anything. You're actually able to make sure that they're paying attention to the video call that you're on. Going forward, some of the other options and capabilities that the services provide, we do allow up to 30 participants into a single call. So if you've ever been on a video call, that's a lot of participants on a video call. simultaneously, and you can have up to 9 on the screen at any time. HD video quality to the desktop and mobile devices if they support it, as well as to your standard Huawei endpoints, either SIP or H.323. And we do support content sharing from all those devices into all of those devices. So adding that ability to present a PowerPoint or another document from your desktop really increases the productivity of the meetings and the capabilities in the meetings to give users the ability to be able to share even more information with each other and get their point across. Easy guest access, so users do have the ability to join in without having to have a meeting, a registered meeting pin or anything. There's no licensing required for a guest to join in. They can just come in either through the web interface, or if they download one of the apps from the App Store. The apps are free to download. All those different options give them access with just either a meeting pin or a user's email address. The solution does also support streaming and recording, so if you want to be able to have larger meetings outside of larger than 30 participants and send it out for a CEO address or a town hall kind of meeting, you can do that in both Windows Media and MPEG-4 format. And then you can record that meeting as well, and so the video will be recorded. All the content that's being shared will be recorded, so then you have all that information after the fact, and to go back, maybe you have a training session or something that you want to record, you can do that with the solution and with the cloud service. And then as far as layout varieties, we support multiple continuous presence layouts, 2x2 or 3x3, and they can either be controlled by the system automatically, or a meeting owner can hard code one of those layouts if they like. And then we do also support lecture mode as well for your classroom kind of situations, where maybe you have a lecturer that wants to talk to everyone and only wants people to see them full screen, but then after that they want to be able to see all of the participants in continuous presence layout locally for them, so they know who's actually in the call with them. And then one of the big things that we have and that we support is the security side. So all of the traffic that is running over a 323 endpoint, it's all AES encrypted. The traffic that's running through mobile devices or through the desktop video clients is all running over SSL port 443, so you already have that secure HTTPS port that you're using on the network to add that extra layer of security, so people feel better about their information is not just going out there on the internet, and people are able to control the environment more. Additionally, we do support the locking of the conference, so that after all the participants are in the conference and have joined, they have the ability to, the meeting owner has the ability to lock the conference, which adds another 128-bit encryption on the call, and even if someone does have a meeting pin, they can't join the call. So it adds just that extra layer of security into the call as well. On the next slide, we're talking about some of the other options and some of the other capabilities of the system, the cross-platform commonality and the user interfaces that we have between both the mobile devices on the Android and iOS and in the desktop all look the same or are very similar, use the same icons, so it makes it easy for users to transition from one device to the next to, they're at home on an iPad or they're at work on their desktop. It makes it very easy to just transition between those because we made everything very standard and common between all the interfaces. We do support something fairly unique with an email dialing support. So if a user wants to join a meeting, they can just enter whenever they launch the client, they can just enter someone's email address, and then the client's smart enough to go search out and find that meeting pin or the meeting that is associated with that email address, and then it drops you directly into that meeting. And so that's something very specific to us that makes it even easier for users to send out guest invites and make it easier for users to join meetings whenever they don't have registered accounts. As far as conference controls and settings, we support all the major features and functions that you would want to do as far as conference layouts, streaming, recording, content sharing, the locking of the conference. You can mute individual users. You can force users into specific windows, all from the client, the desktop client, or from the mobile device client. So you have all those functionalities from both interfaces. The interfaces do also support a group messaging or a group chat. So that if users want to ask questions, they can do that through the system and through the interfaces. Additionally, whenever users are joined via a stream or as a stream participant only, just viewing the video call, they can actually chat back to the users that are in the live call interactively. So if you're in a town hall situation, you could have users watching a live stream and then just chatting back to a moderator. And that moderator could then ask all the questions. So we support a live group messaging chat in the stream as well. And then, like I said a few seconds ago about the firewall traversal for the desktop and mobile devices, it is all done over port 443, so it is all done over secure SSL port there for the firewall traversal. Makes it easy to get through firewalls. On the next slide, the content sharing that I spoke about earlier, you can upload PowerPoints and JPEGs to the system and present those. You can also show your desktop. We do have the option for if you have a multi-screen system that you can present one or the other, so you don't have to show your entire screen if you don't want to. And then we also support high-res 720p content in H.239 content sharing format to H.323 endpoints, and we also support BFCP content to your SIP. Standard-based endpoints. So we support all the major methods and requirements for content sharing on your endpoints as well. On the next slide, these are some of the other controls that we have for a host with the lock conference, the streaming and recording, the disconnecting of participants, muting participants, and forcing an active speaker, like I mentioned before. All those options are available to meeting owners with just a toggle button in the client interface. As you can see, you see a participant list. If you right-click to participants, that's where you can mute them or disconnect them individually. So if you don't want someone in the meeting for some reason, you can disconnect them. You can lock the call with a lock. And actually, the plus sign allows you to actually add an additional participant. So if you want to dial out to someone that's on a 323 or a SIP video endpoint, you can actually do that from this interface as well. And then, like I said, the in-meeting chat is also supported on the desktop interface. As far as some of the reporting that we have, the system also allows you to run usage reports, so you can see who is using the system, how much they're using the system, how many files they have uploaded, if they've had streams running, and if they're running it 100 minutes, 200 minutes, however many minutes a month they're using it. And then you can also see how many ports you're using. So whenever you subscribe to the service, you subscribe to a certain number of ports on the service is one of the options. And you actually have the ability to see how many of those ports you're using, so you know when you potentially need to purchase more ports because you are utilizing all of the maximum number of ports that you have subscribed to. Excuse me. Then we also support real-time call quality during the call and in the interface as well. So we have a little network indicator. When you click on that, you can see the speed that you're connected at. You can see the resolution that you're connected at, your frames per second. If there's any packet loss or jitter or high levels of delay, all those things you can pull from the interfaces directly during the call, both the desktop and the mobile device interfaces. And then we do support logging on those interfaces if you're having issues connecting or anything that you can then send to the help desk to help determine what the issues may be if there's any problems connecting. On the next slide, we're talking about some of that secure firewall traversal that was briefly mentioned before. The mobile pathway protocol is something that really differentiates the Ecoprezens solution from others in the market. Everything that runs from your desktop and mobile devices runs that protocol. It is a single port protocol that runs over port 443, which in most situations is already open in the firewall. With your standards-based 323 and SIP solutions, you have to have some sort of firewall traversal hardware in place to be able to get outside of the hardware and the network. And that's very difficult to handle and support whenever you have hundreds or thousands of users that are trying to connect from mobile devices when they're telecommuting, or if they're working just from an office or from one enterprise to another. You don't want to have all those other things in place and have to purchase those very expensive firewall traversal pieces of hardware that you need. And so since we're already leveraging an open port, it makes it very easy for us to get out of a firewall very quickly without having to bring IT into the whole episode or the whole side of that business, of that presentation and everything. And then we do support connectivity from there to the 323 and SIP. This is one of the mobile UIs or interfaces. They do look very similar in both the iOS and Android. This happens to be the iOS UI. And like I said before, it does support full video and audio and content sharing. And then full multitasking capabilities as far as, launching the meeting, managing other conferences. So if you are an administrator of the organization or of the system, you have the ability to manage not just the conference you're in, but other conferences that are running on the system from just your mobile device, as well as from your desktop client. And then streaming, recording, group chat, all those things, all those same things are built into the mobile client as well, or the mobile app as well as the secure firewall traversal. We look at it as one of those things where we turn all of your mobile devices and desktops into firewall traversal video solutions, because we build that technology into the actual client. We're not counting on something that the device either supports or that the laptop supports. We actually build it into the client so the client knows how to get out of the firewalls. On the next slide, the final thing that we do support for clients is the ability to fully brand everything. So you can brand all the desktops, web pages. You can also brand all of the desktop clients, and you have that ability, and that's all included as part of the monthly fee. There's not an extra fee for that, I don't believe. And then mobile device apps, those can be branded, but there's additional fees for things like that. But there's development required with that. But the branding is something that really differentiates us as well, because you're able to fully offer a service that's your own to your employees and to other people whenever they're going out to your website or to your video service. They're seeing that it's your service, and that's a nice thing to see that you have your own service offering for users.
Wow, Jarrett, I can clearly see why you're the lead solution architect. That was an incredible overview, and really appreciate it. I really personally like that ability to dismiss people out of a video conference, or to at least mute them. I've been in a few meetings where that would have come in extremely handy, so that was a great feature. But no, that was a super good overview. We now have the final polling question, so I'm going ahead and launch this for you guys. And what we're trying to find out now is, what's your time frame for adopting this kind of stuff? Have you already done it? Do you already have video conferencing set up within your company or within as a VAR? Are you already selling it? You think you're going to be doing it in the next 6 months, between 6 months and 2 years, or are you more than 2 years out? So we'd love to hear that. Really just a fantastic overview that Jarrett provided. So it's hopefully you guys all have a great feeling for the ability to leverage the solution and all the technology and security that's involved with it. So we'll go ahead and give you just another 5 seconds or so to weigh in on your time frame for adoption, and then we'll show you guys all the results. Okay, let's go ahead and show everybody. And as you can see, about a little over a third of you are already using video conferencing, which is great. Another quarter of you are doing it within the next 6 months, and then there's an even spread over the next couple of years, and nobody is really planning on not doing it at all, which is a good thing to see. So that's great. What I'd like to do now is go ahead and we're going to turn it back over to Mario. We're going to allow you to take it away and talk a little bit about some of the business side, some of the aggressive pricing you guys are setting up on this stuff. So go ahead, Mario.
Yes, absolutely. So this is the promotion that we have on Ecoprezens for Q1. And so we have some pricing here. We have 4-way meeting rooms, 6 and actually 9-way. So there's a little typo here. It's actually a 9-way meeting room. So probably a lot of you are wondering, why is a 4-way meeting room? Essentially what it is the number of connections you're allowed to have. So in terms of connections, it means the number of people who can attend your meeting. So for instance, let's look at the 4-way meeting room. So we're looking at the first one. You purchase a cloud meeting room, 4-way meeting room, for $150 a month. You can have an unlimited amount of meetings, any day, anytime, with 4 hosts. 4 people can attend those meetings at the same time. So the big distinction to make here is that once you are using your meeting room, no one else can. So we design it as the same concept as a traditional meeting room. Once the meeting room is occupied, nobody else can have a meeting in the same room. So it's essentially the same concept, except we're talking about virtual cloud rooms here. Your cloud room is in use, nobody else can use it. You can have 4 people on the 4-way meeting room, 6 people on a 6-way, and then 9 people on a 9-way meeting room. So the first one is the 4-way is $149 a month unlimited usage. The 6-way is $229 a month, and the 9-way is $349 a month for unlimited usage. So what we're doing is that we're bundling this with the Huawei TE30 endpoint. And the promo price is $6,500. If you take a look at the competition, Cisco, for instance, they're selling similar devices between $12,000 and $14,000. So we're offering this endpoint at half the cost of the competition for the entire Q1 once you purchase a cloud meeting room, either 4-way, 6-way, or 9-way meeting room. So you have the option of purchasing the unit outright for $6,500 with a cloud meeting room of your choice, or we have a partner called Great America Leasing. The TE30 could also be leased to Great America for either 12 or 36-month term. If you want some details about that, you can contact us after the webinar, and we'll give you some details on the leasing terms. But essentially, that's what we're offering for this. So for Q1, so this goes all the way to March 31st. We're offering the TE30 at $6,500 with any cloud meeting room of your choice, 4-way, 6-way, 9-way meeting room. So that's the offer we have for Q1, and this is the emphasis we want to put on this webinar. This promotion is going on until March 31st, so the end of the first quarter of 2014. On the next slide, we're just quickly highlighting the key features on Ecoprezens. So we've pretty much made a list of all the big players in the cloud video industry. We have Blue Jeans, who's doing well on the market. We have Vidtail, Glowpoint, etc. And what we're pointing out is that even though these guys are doing really well, people hearing about them everywhere, we cover more features in Ecoprezens than any of those providers combined. And so we have our fact checking here. You can go to our website, you can go to Blue Jeans website, any other website, you have to verify that information. We have more features covered than any of the major player in the video conferencing market yet. So that's just very, very important to notice. On the next slide, just want to go through a quick summary of Ecoprezens. So what we're offering is a full-feature video service, affordable and easy to use. You guys seen the pricing. You guys, if any of you wants to challenge us, we'll be willing to send you over to competition, and so you can get pricing, comparable pricing, and we guarantee you that we will be beating that price with a lot more features on the solution. And the interoperability, this is a funny word, that we have on our solution. So we support Mac, we support Android, we support Windows devices, and room system. Turnkey room system all in one, so TE30 for true turnkey solution. And finally, just want to just say something quickly about some of the other promo that we have, and you guys can see us later after the webinar to get more details. But we have a few promo going on. As a Huawei partner, we have access to the entire portfolio of Huawei products. So we have a lot of specials going on right now on switches, enterprise switches, enterprise storage devices, cards, accelerators, and of course video conferencing endpoints. So you can see us after the webinar to get more details on some of the promo items that we have for Q1. We'll gladly pass on that information to you. And that is it for today. Our contact information is on the last slide. So if you have any questions, you can call us, send us an email, and we'll gladly talk to you and give you more detail on any questions you may have.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mario. And as a matter of fact, we do have questions. So if you have additional questions in the audience, please keep entering those in. But we do have a handful here, so we'll go ahead and we'll kind of go through a bunch of those right now. So one of the questions is, do the benefits of video conferencing justify the upfront cost, and how long is the ROI? So Mario, take a typical case, maybe one of the 6 meeting room solutions where they have a couple of TE30s that they've sent out there, and maybe 1 or 2 of the other sites are just consuming it, but they don't necessarily have a camera. So just take kind of a typical implementation with 2 or 3 video units and 6 meeting rooms from a monthly cost and an initial outlay perspective. What's the ROI on that for a company that otherwise would have been spending some money on travel and other cost savings?
Okay. So we have, I'm just going to give you a specific example of a client that we done an implementation last year. So they went live in June of last year on Ecoprezens. So right now they have been averaging since July of 2013 about 585 minutes a month of meeting time. So that cuts back drastically their travel expenses. So they have global offices and sales rep and middle management traveling all the time to some of their remote offices or distributor sites. Now they're able to have those face-to-face meetings with their global distributors and the sales force in the remote offices without traveling. So for these guys specifically, they have been the implementation of TE30, and they pay slightly more because we didn't have the promotion at the time, but it was still around 20K for both locations. They have, I'm going to give you the exact figures here. They have been saving about $9,400 a month on travel costs since July. $9,400 a month. ROI was in 60 days for these guys.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that's a great example.
Right.
All right. Here's another question, Jarrett. This might be a little bit more for you. It's kind of, I think they want you to review some of the protocols that are supported by the solution. So it says, what type of network, IP, ISDN, PRI, et cetera, does the TE30 support? And roughly, can you estimate about how much bandwidth I need at each location to support the solution?
For the TE30, Mario will probably have to answer that question. But you know, the cloud service actually does support ISDN and IP, and you can either run 323 or SIP over it. And then bandwidth-wise, it depends on the resolution you want to run, but anywhere from 256K up to 3 megabyte per each site, per site. So as far as what the TE30 supports, that may be a question for Mario.
Yeah, and I can answer that. So for the TE30 at 1080p resolution, you'll be looking at 512 kilobytes for bandwidth requirements, less than a meg. There's no other device on the market today that would do 1080p under 1 meg. So it's doing 512. So you will be fine with the DSLI for the cloud video service.
Okay, great. The next question says, I heard how easy the TE30 is to set up, but I still want to know how complicated is it to integrate this solution with their existing networking infrastructure. So just kind of taking a page away from what that question might be, if they have other vendors, switches and routers and wireless and things like that, how complicated is it to plug this solution into an existing infrastructure with different vendor solutions?
Well, every implementation that we've done so far were with other vendors' infrastructure. So we had implementations with HP infrastructure, Cisco infrastructure, Cisco switches, Cisco routers, HP four-curve switches, all of them. And so in other words, there is no issue at all interconnecting the TE30 with other routing and switching devices from other vendors. None whatsoever that we've seen so far.
Okay, excellent. Next question is, what's the main difference between standards-based and proprietary video conferencing?
Jared, you want to get that one?
Yeah, sure. So standards-based solutions are going to be your 323 endpoints, your SIP endpoints, things like that everyone from Huawei and Polycom and Cisco and all those guys support. The problem with a lot of those solutions is that they are not firewall friendly. Even their desktop and mobile device applications still run those 323 and SIP-based protocols, which require a bunch of different ports in your network firewall to be opened for the traffic to be able to traverse. And so that's where the mobile pathway protocol, that is a proprietary protocol for AGT, really comes in handy for getting outside of firewalls and getting outside of your own enterprise or your one private enterprise. It's actually probably a little bit, it makes it a lot easier for you just to be able to do that versus only having those standards-based solutions that require all that extra hardware that you have to implement and then also buy and pay for, and that stuff's not cheap.
Okay, great. That's a great answer. Okay, this one I think Mario and I will both answer, so I'll take the first little swag at it, and then Mario, you can answer afterwards. But it says, where can I get more information on Huawei and ecoTech managed video conferencing solutions? So if you look at that website there, HuaweiEnterpriseUSA.com, that is the U.S. enterprise website, and I know there's a couple of different sites floating around out there, but this HuaweiEnterpriseUSA.com is the primary site that we want you to go to, and on there you'll see various solutions related to video conferencing and just more from a hardware perspective, but Mario can talk a little bit more about the overall solution that we've presented here on this webinar. So tell them how they can find out more, Mario.
Absolutely. So if anyone who's interested in finding out more or even having a 14-day trial of the Ecoprezens solution can reach us at our office number 317-222-1234, extension 1003. That would go directly to Tina. Tina is handling this promotion right now. You can either send an email to office@ecotech1.net or tina@ecotech1.net. And Tina is leading with the Q1 promotion, and she'll be able to provide any kind of information, or any other team member for that matter. But Tina is the point contact for this promotion.
Okay, great. And I think this question probably has the same answer, but they say, how can I see a live demo of video conferencing? And I just wanted to ask you, as you answer this question, if somebody doesn't have a TE30 on their site, is it possible for them just to use one of their existing endpoints, like a tablet computer, or try a couple of different endpoints with one of your TE30s and just get a flavor for the resolution and kind of the bandwidth, how the actual video flows and things like that? Could you talk a little bit about how somebody could see a demo of this without even having a video conferencing unit at their site?
Right. So there's a number of things we can do. the first thing we can do, we have in our demo room, we have a TE30, so we can set up a live meeting, send an invite so they can attend with a desktop or a mobile device. So essentially, they would download the client on their endpoint and join the meeting that way. So this will allow them to see a demo of Ecoprezens. The other thing we could also do to some extent is send a TE30 to the end user for trial for 5 or 6 days, so they can try. We would have it pre-configured, send it over to the end user, have them use it for 4 or 5 days on the solution, and give us feedback on that. So there's a number of things we can do. We're pretty flexible and pretty creative on the option for trials and purchases.
Excellent. Wow. So somebody wants to try this, you'll actually send them a unit and they can try it out, and if they're happy with it, then they can buy it. That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that is about, yeah, that's about it for the questions at this point. So I know we're coming right up on the hour, so timing's about perfect. I would like to very much thank Mario from ecoTech for spending some time with us, and also Jarrett Lohman, who obviously proved why he is the lead solution architect on this product with his technical knowledge. Fantastic. Thank you very much to the audience, and remember, you will be receiving a Starbucks gift card for joining us today. We appreciate your time, and be on the lookout for an invite to another Huawei webinar in the near future. But gentlemen, thanks again for your time, and we'll talk to you guys all again on a webinar in the very near future.